Alright, part 2 of my Fetterman and Wagon box little shebang. Now, let's set the stage. December 21st, early morning. Uh, it's kind of the day of judgment for Fetterman and his men. Um, Red Cloud has just and the Indians have chosen their ambush spot. If you look at the battlefield today, it's a pretty good spot. It's along the Bozeman Trail, along a hill, so that the soldiers couldn't use their rifles, guns, to maximum effect, and the Indians could use their bows, which are more short range, um, better than the soldiers could use their guns. It was a brilliant spot to put an ambush. Most of the Indians were armed with arrows. Only a few had guns, but most of them were with arrows and traditional weapons like that. It was a pretty good spot. And back in the fort, it's pretty cheerful. Forgot to mention, the officers expected, the war would be over by Christmas, as they say in pretty much every single war ever made, ever. And they actually encouraged the soldiers to bring their wives and children along. So while this is going on, there's wives and children in the fort, and it's been pretty much a siege of Fort Kearney by the Indians for the last month. And so it's pretty rough on the women and children too. And there's also lots of civilians who are hired as wagon, drivers and tree choppers and stuff like that. So it's December 21st, and Red Cloud decides this is the day they're going to set their ambush. On the other side, Carnington sends out the last wagon, the last wood train out from the fort. It's kind of a little bad luck for them. It's about 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. when they're sent out. A blizzard started in the distance. And at around 10 o'clock to 11, Red Cloud's warriors send warriors to attack the wood train. Now, the men attacking the wood train, these are decoys. You see, two Indians from each tribe, the Sioux and the different kinds of Sioux, the Miniconjou and the Sanark and the Cheyenne, each select two guys from the whole tribe to be part of the decoys. And it's a pretty big honor. Crazy Horse, the guy I mentioned earlier, he is one of the decoys. And for the Cheyenne, a warrior named Big Nose is one of the decoys. Carnington assembles a little bigger force than usual. Also, a bad twist of luck, I guess, for the soldiers. He gathers together a little bigger force. 76 men, 48 infantry armed with single-shot Springfield muzzleloaders from the Civil War, very obsolete, are sent out. Before he leaves, Carnington tells him, Fetterman, relieve the wood train. Under no circumstances pursue the enemy over Lodge Trail Ridge. As the soldiers march out, he tells them again, do not pursue the Indians over Lodge Trail Ridge. And when he's out again, do not pursue the Indians over Lodge Trail Ridge. Tells them this 3 times. That was the infantry. The cavalry, they were also going to send some cavalry. Took a little bit longer to get their gear ready and stuff. The cavalry commander was Drummond, a close friend to Fetterman, and also had a distaste for Carnington's, I guess just Carnington. Anyway, he goes out, and Gremlin also has a fresh bride in the fort. Sadly, they wouldn't be seeing anyone again. 27 men, cavalrymen, armed with repeating Spencer carbines, a lot more up to date than the outdated muzzleloaders of the infantry, are sent out. But before they leave, two civilians catch up to them. James Wheatley and Isaac Fisher, two ex-Confederate soldiers, join the little force. They have 16-shot Henrys, which are pretty welcoming additions. Now, Wheatley and Isaac Fisher are both, like I said, Confederate veterans, lots of combat experience, and have fought Indians and have been on the frontier for quite a while now. This will help the soldiers a little bit during the fight. Curiously enough, Fetterman has exactly 80 men under his command. This is the same number of men he needed to take down the entire Sioux Nation. Fetterman's infantry is moved out before the cavalry and leave the wood train. The soldiers headed straight for Lodge Trail Ridge, but at first Carrington was not alarmed. They were not in immediate danger, and if the Indians broke off the attack on the wood train, the soldiers would be in a good position for pursuit a little ways, but not over Lodge Trail Ridge. After a while, the men neared Lodge Trail Ridge. The Indians broke off their attack and galloped past them very quick. The Oglala Sioux guy, Crazy Horse, they stopped in range for the soldiers, and they're taunting them, and they're waving blankets at them, nooning them even. Crazy Horse gets off, adjusts his horse's bridle, and examines his hood, even though the army bullets are whizzing all around him. He doesn't budge, because this guy, he's pretty tough. Big Nose and the other guys are doing as much as they can to harass them. Were these Indians not afraid of them? Fetterman must have been thinking. This enraged him, and Gremlin, who just arrived with the cavalry, was pretty mad too. All of a sudden, Carrington was watching this at the fort. All of a sudden, he sees the men break ranks and charge over Lodge Trail Ridge, and he's horrified. Nobody knows who gave the order. Was it Fetterman or was it Grumman? Grumman was insubordinate, so was Fetterman a little. Nobody will ever know who first charged over that ridge, but either way, there was no turning back. The men charged for quite a while, and they neared the ambush spot. The infantry got pretty well ahead, into the trap. The cavalry, though, so hyped up, and plus, I mean, they're on horses, that gotta contribute a little, went way ahead of the cavalry, not the cavalry, of the infantry. In fact, they even crossed this creek, and then the decoys looped back around, signaling the trap, and it was sprung. Now, all of the actual physical battle, no white man survived. A lot of Indians left accounts, but they weren't, taken into consideration until much later. This is one of the many possible scenarios, and very likely, what happened. Now, Grumman and his cavalry are shocked. I mean, the Indians rise up, whoa! They're charging forward, and Fetterman too. They're surprised too. The cavalry falls back, sprinting their horses back towards the infantry. While this is going on, Wheatley and Fisher, the guys with the 16-shot Henry rifles, knew from their experience on the plains, running away from Indians was stupid. I mean, if you run away, you're gonna get killed. So they hunkered down behind some rocks. and make a stand. So they're joined by several NCOs, and they fight to the death. It's estimated that just this little group of about 7 men killed around 60 Indians. That is the same amount of Indians as Custer killed at the Little Big One. Now, Fetterman, his troops are very inexperienced. Never seen combat, most of them. Many of them don't even know how to fire their muskets. It's that they don't know that much. They try to make a formation, kind of looks like a right angle, where a tree is today, to the north and to the east. The cavalry kind of loops back and makes a kind of a hasty line to the west, a little very angled from the rest of this line. And there are 2,000 Indians against 80 soldiers. It's probably been doomed from the very moment Fetterman stepped into that trap. But before Fetterman fires a volley to the west, wheels back around, fires one to the east, and Drummond and his cavalry are doing the best to to keep their horses from running off. It's very chaotic. The sky is raining arrows, sheets thick as lead. Most of the Indians were armed with arrows, and it's estimated that over 40,000 arrows were fired in Fetterman's fight. 40,000. 2,000 Indians, 80 soldiers, 45 minutes, over 40,000 arrows. That is one heck of a lot of arrows. Anyway, eventually, the Indians start pressing in behind them, and this infantry realizes, hey yo, we're gonna get cut off. We should run. They run back towards the monument. The cavalry temporarily releases their horses, which basically really quickly halts the entire attack, because these horses are very, very valuable. They go after the horses. While this is going on, a bugler named Adolf Mexler grabs his bugle and starts hacking out at these Indians. He's eventually killed, and according to legend, he's honored by the Indians with bravery, and they lay a buffalo robe over him. Now, a lot believe this. The bugle has been stamped up a lot. However, a lot of historians do not think this is true. Kind of little propaganda there. I mean, just look at the bugle. It's bashed up. If you respect someone, you won't bash up the bugle. Anyway, and plus when they came on the battlefield later, they didn't recall any buffalo robes or unmutilated bodies. The cavalry is soon completely surrounded, and they fight to the death until they're all succumbed to the massive Sioux warriors.